So, Anna, what did success look like to you when you were growing up?
Oh, I think it looked like different things. First of all, my parents both worked and they had a very corporate career. So to me, growing up, having success was always having a job. But then, as my mom and my dad worked, I grew up with my grandmother. And my grandmother was a housewife. And she was very concerned that she never had the independence that she wanted to have or that she could have had. So she taught my mom since a very young age to have her own job, her own money, her own independence, because success was independence.
Okay.
So I think that I got really into this kind of mindset that like I had to be very independent since a very young age, and by independence is like having my own money, my own job, my career, and like having things that I'm proud of, you know, things, not nothing else,
Yeah.
just around things.
Okay. I love it. And I guess you can always go either way when you're growing up. So your parents or grandparents or the people that are raising you can always go by the things that they saw in the family or the things
Yes.
that they didn't have. So I guess it's a great thing for your grandma to have told you what independence is, because she could have just told you the same thing that she had, which is to be a housewife, which neither one is good or bad. It's just what the individual needs and
Yes.
how much can you evolve by doing one thing or the other.
Yes, I've actually had this conversation with my mom a couple of weeks ago, and it was so interesting because I was telling my mom that like I'm 30, I'm single, I'm very successful, and like I wish I had someone that I could share my life with. And she was like, "Don't you see your grandma? Like she was married her whole life, and all she wanted to have was what you have." And we were talking about how the grass is always greener, like
Yeah.
how it's so difficult to be satisfied and happy with our own lives and our own decisions. And like I think the most important thing about success nowadays to me is to have balance. Like you can be very successful, but you can also pay attention to your social life. You can be very fit, but you can also go out and have a dinner and enjoy with friends. So I think that like everything is about balance, and I think that in our grandparents' age, they were leaning way towards being a housewife or being a mom, or like they weren't worried about other things also because they couldn't, because their education was different. And then for us, everything went derailed the other side. So I think that we just need to find the balance nowadays. And yeah, just don't think that the grass is always greener. It's like there are always good and bad things about both situations, I think.
Of course. And I guess the successful people put, I don't know what they think, and by definition, success means different thing to everyone. But the wealthy people, for example, I imagine if they don't have much time, especially the people that have built businesses, maybe they wish they have more free time.
Yeah.
The people that have more free time but they have less wealth, they wish to be with a lot of financial freedom. So like you said, the grass is always greener. But I also understood in my 30s now, that understanding what your values are will help you to move forward in life.
Yeah.
And so understanding what your values are. Prior to my 30s, I've never really told myself or questioned myself what my values are. I would be more drawn to specific things, my intentions of things that I'm doing would be based on external validation, just looking at what other people are doing and then just thinking, oh, maybe I would like to do that, but not really checking in with myself. Is this what I really want to do? And now it's solely on really questioning what my values are and how I want to live my life. And so my next question is how your values have changed since you moved to London, in terms of understanding what do you value, what do you prioritize, and how you want your life to be.
Oh, they changed so much. So I came to London 8 years ago. I am from Brazil. I never had left Brazil before I came to the UK, and I had never been to Europe. I didn't speak English. It was a very big leap of faith that I took. And I took this leap of faith because I felt like I was really settled in my very early 20s. Like I was 23, I had a 2-bed flat by the beach, I had a car I loved, a relationship, friends, like my life was settled. I have a job that I was really successful in. I was running my business, like, and I thought to myself, that can't be it. Like I can't settle at 23. Like there's got to be more for me. So I literally just took a leap of faith, left everything, sold everything and put everything I had left in a 23 kilo suitcase and ended up in London. I didn't really know what to expect. Obviously, I had never done anything like this before, so I didn't really know what to expect. And it was really difficult at the beginning. It was very humbling. I did my bachelor's in Brazil, running my own business, very successful. Came to London, was working as a runner at a pub. Never felt dumber, like, you know, like in between like cleaning toilets and like getting glasses from tables, and like I couldn't even communicate with people. Like literally my first 3 months I just cried, like I couldn't do anything else. It was really difficult culturally, weather like it was a very big adaptation process. And I think that like the more time that I spent here, the more I identified the opportunities that were out there for me. And like I came here for the opportunities. But if you told me that in 8 years I would be able to achieve everything that I've achieved, I would have called you crazy. Like the kind of like my career was so steep. My life just took a very steep kind of curve, and I achieved everything in a very short period of time. But then I think that like London taught me how to be very ambitious and like to see things and to visualize a life that I didn't think I could have, or that I didn't think it was written for me or was possible for me. So I saw myself in this life and I was like, oh my God, this type of life is possible for me. What do I do with it now that I have it? You know, like how do I manage this life now that I have? Like I came from a family that my parents are the first ones that went to university. You know, I don't come from money. I don't come from a very golden childhood. Yeah. So coming to the UK and being able to live the life that I live now is like, it's so different. But then I think that I worked towards my career and towards the money aspect of things so much that I forgot about everything else. I forgot about making friendships. I forgot about having fun on the way. I forgot about developing my spirituality. I forgot about what was important to me. So I think that my 20s were for building, and I built literally everything. Like every single day I hustled, I worked 3 jobs at once, open business, closed businesses, like failing and trying and learning and, you know, like just moving all around and trying to understand what my values were. And I was not even thinking about them. But then I think that something shifted like late 20s when I turned 30. And then I identified that like my success doesn't mean my job title is not merged with how much money I have on my bank account. So what is then? So then that's why I left London, and that's why everything happened after that. So like, yeah, I'm going on and on and on. But it's a very difficult and very different topic for me to answer when I moved to London. What happened between when I moved, the first few years, the early stages, and then the middle stages, and then the last year where I was like, okay, I've got everything. What now? Yeah. Like, you know, like now success needs to be something different now. Money, I don't think that money matters as much as I thought it did, you know? So, and I was like, well, but I still live in London and I still need to make a living and I still run my own business and I am very successful and I've done everything, but what's happening? Why am I not that happy? Why have I achieved every single thing? Why have I ticked every single box and why am I still not happy? Yeah.
So it sounds like you've been through like a couple of different lives in a very short time. But it's interesting when you're saying what happened to you and how much you have achieved things and who you are now. So what would you say are the 3 values that were the most important to you when you were in your 20s versus now when you're in your 30s after achieving everything? One of them I hear is money. Any other values that you were heavily on when you were in your 20s?
I'm gonna say two in one: freedom and independence being the same. Like, I grew up to be a strong and independent woman. So like, I built my life around that. Like, I've got no one to tell me what I can do and what I cannot do. That comes from me.
Yeah.
So like, that is the thing. So I would say definitely money. I built my life around making enough money to be able to be free and independent. And I think a third one would be like something that I developed a lot, but like just trying to know myself. So like mental health. So I don't really know how to put it in a simple words, but I would say that like one of my values is always trying to get better. And in my 20s, that meant trying to get better for my career, for my work, for my freedom. Like, I wanted to get better because I wanted to be better as someone that comes across as someone that is very powerful. Which I probably have the same type of value now, but in a total different perspective. So like, I think that these were the three, like trying to always be better, money, and being being free and being like just very independent.
Yeah.
And then I think now,
Would you say, if I may stop you there just for a second, because it's a very interesting thing that you said, is trying to be better, trying to be a strong one. Would you say this is how you want to be perceived versus who you actually want to be?
very interesting question. And I think it was back in the day. So I think that like, I read a lot. I'm very passionate about psychology, behavioral science. It's something that I do for fun, let's say. Like, on my free time, I'm going to pick up like behavioral science books and neuroscience. Like, I'm very interested in that type of thing. And I've learned that our brain creates our reality. We condition our brains to actually create what we believe in. And like, the more we believe, our synapses actually create this reality for us. That's why The Secret, the book, is so good. And that's why in how you manifest things, and they actually happen, like, because your brain believes that it's true before your actions catch up. So I think that like, fake it until you make it, it's so true. So I was always I have a friend actually funny story. I have a friend who I was talking to after I came back to London. And we met when I was still living a very sketchy type of life. Like, I was still working 3 jobs. I was still like trying to make a living, but I already had my 1-bedroom flat. Like, I didn't own it, I rented it, but I had my own bedroom flat. I was buying Gucci bags and like Prada bags, and like I was shopping on these stores on credit cards. Like, you know, like I was living this life that I didn't have. And then she's a lawyer, she's a VP at MasterCard. Like, she makes a lot of money, and she used to come to my flat, and she used to say like, how is she living this life? You know, and like, but I was so convinced that that was the life I wanted to have, that I was living it, and it caught up. The numbers caught up afterwards. But like, I think that fake it until you make it is so true. You know,
it's quite powerful to also manifest as well.
Yeah.
Because it starts from your mind. If you don't believe in something, if you believe that the only way of really supporting yourself is to work 9 to 5,
Yeah.
for example, which again, there is nothing wrong with that. This will be the only way that your mind is going to allow you to do this, and you will not be possibly able to achieve something else unless you start thinking otherwise, that there are other ways.
Yeah.
So tell me, because now you're helping women to achieve exactly what you've achieved in a very short time.
Yes.
So tell me a little bit about where the idea came from and what's your business about and who you're helping at the moment.
Yeah, so that comes basically first from my background, because I built this life for myself, and I think that I have so much knowledge of this life that I can bring to other people, that the more people that know that we're not supposed to be trapped in a 9 to 5 and that's not what success means, the better.
Yeah.
So I would love to like bring that to as many people as I can. But also is because on my day-to-day job, I've spent the last 8+ years helping businesses to launch, grow, and scale. And as I said, I study behavioral science for fun. It's something that consumer behavior, behavioral science, the theory behind color, why people buy what they buy, happiness towards purchasing. So I study a lot of those things, and I used to apply that into companies. I used to apply that for people who are rich to become richer.
Yeah.
And then once I left London, and I did that because I thought that it was the right thing to do, because I was taught that money is in corporate, and that's how you're gonna have a good business, and that's how you're gonna have a good job title, and that's how you run a successful thing. You work with C-levels. You work on a level that is, you work with very impressive people and stakeholders, and that's why I wanted to work with corporate. But once I left London and I went actually to live in a monastery in Nepal, I kind of realized that the most important thing that we have about us is the sense of community. And that's what was missing for me since I moved to London, since the beginning of times. And I do believe that I have so much knowledge that can be used towards so many individuals that want to open their own businesses, that want to break free from their 9 to 5s, and that don't even have language for this yet. So I'm trying to use all the knowledge that I accumulated over these past 10 years and apply that to people, to a woman that is on her 9 to 5 and she's not happy, and she always went to the gym and she loves being at the gym, but she doesn't think that she's got enough skills. She does, and she can live from that. Someone that did a yoga instructor course and they don't know how to monetize from this. They can open a business. They can live a life on their own terms, doing exactly what they know and how they can see themselves doing that. So I'm trying to help people to do that now.
I love it. And also something very important you said is that you are helping people to really live more fulfilled life. Because, I've done a yoga teaching training during the pandemic, and there are so many yoga teachers, and not so many, I would say, yoga studios, more yoga teachers than yoga studios. And I really never left, the corporate. Then I continued working because I just told myself I would not be able to build a sustainable business from yoga. And so I kind of continued selling my soul for doing something just solely for the money.
Yeah.
Because I was unable to really bring the passion and what I love doing. I was unable to see how would that look like. And I feel like part of that is because, even recently my dad was like, why don't you find a nice job in the airport? And and I love my parents, of course, and they come from a different generation. And also it's important to understand where people come from. In certain countries, the mindset is dominant than others. And so where my parents come from, the reality of achieving is very different. It's about having a stable job, just having like this an income coming in every month that is secured. But what is secured really? Because if you fall ill tomorrow, no one will continue paying the salary. So there isn't really a security, how do we define security? And so it's quite interesting that you are helping these people to come out from this mentality that, you can build a business from things that you actually love doing. You don't have to necessarily think that 9 to 5 in an office is the only way forward. And that's how so many people now are really quitting their jobs without knowing what to do next.
Yes, and I think that you touched on a very important subject. We talk about security a lot, and we think that stability comes with a job. But if you think about it, and I think this is the biggest lie ever, because you're literally trusting your whole life tied to one organization. What if they go under? What if this organization fails? They're not going to think about you. You're the last thing they're going to think about if they're going through issues. So we've been sold this version of success that if you work for a company and if you're very loyal, they're going to reward you. Reward you with what? What's the reward? If they go under, you're going to be the last person they're going to ever think of. So like, if you build for yourself, you're in control. You're not putting your control into anyone else. Obviously, it's difficult. You need to create your own demand. You need to find your own clients. It's not easy. Otherwise, everybody would do it. It is not easy.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if you think that, oh, because running my own business is unstable, just as unstable as it is to put your whole life and your whole financial decisions in the hands of someone that can't give you any guarantees, because they can't.
Yeah.
Like, in the best case scenario, what you have nowadays is a 3-month notice.
Yeah. And in some countries, you don't even get that.
Exactly.
And so what happens with the mortgage?
Exactly.
What happens with your finance car?
Yeah. So like,
If you have kids?
yeah. So like, think about the things that you can do on your own that can bring the security to you. And like, think about the amount of time that you're spending towards doing this to other people's businesses. Like, you are spending literally 40 hours a week building someone else's business with no guarantee. Your guarantee is your salary at the end of the month. It isn't enough. You know? I mean, it's just, to me, it isn't enough. Like,
Yeah. And this is exactly what happened during the pandemic, if you think about. I think it continues happening, and so many people have been made redundant every other day. And then they question themselves, and now what? But of course, it comes to mentality and mindset and how we've been brought up. You know, if you think about since we've been little, you know, you have to have good grades in school to be able to go to uni, to spend thousands and thousands to pay for the uni, to find a job that will pay for the uni, and then you live from what's left. You know, sometimes I just think like, oh my God, I feel like the education that I had, obviously, don't get me wrong, it's useful. You know, we need to learn how to read, how to add, how to divide, whatever the basics. Everything else, I feel like I've been scammed. You know, of 12 years in higher education, I've been scammed, and I feel like the only thing I'm missing is really, you know, the colorful hair for the clowns and with the big red nose. I feel like I can slowly put it on now. And now, like, okay, wake up. What do we do now? And I guess it's never late. But imagine if we've been educated on financial education, on investing, on how to trust ourselves, on emotional intelligence, on how to understand what we want, what we need, versus what everyone else does. And if we don't do it this way, we're not good enough. And a lot of people are coming out now from this mentality. And a lot of people like you and myself as well are helping these people now to really redefine success and what it means for them. So, yes, and if we think about how the new generation has changed the way we live, because of course every new generation has influenced to the rest of us. We think they're lazy, for example, Gen Z, I don't know, whichever generations are after. But are they really lazy, or are they simply not really falling for this 9 to 5? Again, there is nothing wrong with that. It's just we're trying to bring different perspective of what can you do if you do 9 to 5 and build something for yourself versus going to work for someone. And so I feel like that the Gen Z now, they really struggle, because I don't think they're buying this, you know, it will be telling you how many holidays you'll be having a year. Someone will be telling you how many days, you know, a week you have to be where, at what time, how to dress, how to speak, because if you speak in a different way, you're not accepted. So it's almost like you have to go Monday to Friday to be someone else, because you feel yourself. If you dress the way you want, if you talk the way you want, you will not be accepted. And where is that going, in your opinion, now? How is that changing?
I've got two things to say about that. First thing is about how society sold us this version of success and how our brains are so adaptable to that. So, yesterday I went for brunch with a friend. She recently changed jobs. She's working at Wise now. And very good company, finance, great. She's very happy. And then we were sat down and she was telling me how every 4 years she gets a full paid sabbatical. And I was like, oh, that's so nice. So like, how does that work? And I was like, oh yeah, so I can take 3 weeks off. Every 4 years, she can take 3 weeks off. And I was like, okay, great. You know, like, amazing. Like, that's a benefit. It's amazing. And then she told me how she doesn't need to go to the office. She goes like once a week. And I was like, wow, that's amazing. You know, like, it's very good. Most companies are like coming back to the office now. And then she told me that like the benefits that she gets and all these amazing things, and that like, oh, they have a program that every year you can work 3 months abroad. And I thought to myself, oh, that's so great.
I would think the same.
Yes, and I was like, oh my God, this is so great. And then I was like, some part of my brain thought like, oh, I'm so envious of this job. Like, this job is so amazing. And then I thought to myself, I run my own business. I can take 6 weeks if I want tomorrow. I can work from anywhere already. Like, I don't need anyone controlling my time, and I don't need anyone to tell me if I'm able to do these things. I am able to do these things. And I think that I was talking to another business mentor a couple of weeks ago as well, and she was telling me that like, we can do whatever we want to do, and when we go out of a 9 to 5 and start to work for ourselves, what's missing in our brain is a structure. We don't have a boss to report back to. We don't have anyone that's holding us accountable for what we're doing. So it is so difficult for us to understand how to measure our success, because it only depends from us, and we're not taught how to do that. So that's the first thing, which is a lot.
It is.
And the second thing is that I have a very hot take on how society is going to reorganize itself around it all with the era of AI.
Yeah.
This is a topic that I'm studying more and more now. I told you I got accepted into a PhD. I'm going to start in September. And I'm researching consumer behavior around happiness in the era of AI. So it's a very hot topic for me. Like, I'm reading about that every single day. And I was lucky enough that I consulted for these two guys who launched a book called Stellar, James Arbib and Tony Seba. They are visionaries, they're great, and they study technology disruptions and how that's reorganizing society. And they speak a lot about AI and the new generations and how things are changing. And their theory, which sounds very utopian, but if you read the book that they launched and if you understand their concepts and like the things that they talk about, you kind of see reality to this. So their theory is that AI, combining all the large language models that we have nowadays, combining robotics and combining the energy systems that we have nowadays, which are abundant or super abundant, as they say, to everybody, combining these three technologies, we are going to create a world which they call stellar. In this type of worlds, there's no necessity anymore, because all your minimum needs are going to be met. And then once robotics, AI, energy, once it all takes over, there are going to be no jobs anymore. Because they're going to take over. But that's a good thing. That's not a bad thing. Because that frees humanity from slavery. And that brings people to actually find their purpose. So their theory is, within a generation, 20 to 30 years, we're going to see AI taking over all our jobs, and we're going to be free to find our purpose. What that's going to be, nobody knows yet. But they're also discussing how Gen Z and how the generations after that are already getting up to it, are already waking up to this type of society. They know that work doesn't bring reward and doesn't bring value as much as we thought in our generation. They think differently. So Absolutely. I don't think they're lazy. I think they woke up and I think that they see a world full of possibilities that we didn't have in our time. And that's because of robotics, large language models, AI, internet, and how available that is for us. And my hot take here is that AI taking up our jobs is not a bad thing. I think it's a very good thing.
100%.
Yeah, I think it's a very good thing.
I think the same thing. I mean, if I have the world, I mean, quite often I hear, you know, wow, if I become a millionaire, if I become a millionaire, I don't know what I'm going to do with all my free time. Well, I can tell you what, I will find time, I will find things to do, because there's so many things that I love doing. There's so many people I love spending time with that I don't have time to because of my day-to-day life. For example, so imagine if we have all of the free time in the world, of course, I can bring a little bit controversy into it. It could go either way. Of people, when people have too much time in their hands, it can go one way or the other. Let's hope it goes into the, you know,
Good way.
to the positive way of creating rather than distraction and disturbing. So if everyone starts focusing on creating things that are going to help the humanity to move forward in a positive way, we are going to live a beautiful life, or we will leave behind for the future generations much more peaceful world.
Yes.
So, you know, if AI takes all of the jobs, by all means, please be my guest.
We're ready.
We're ready. I'm happy to focus on, you know, creating things that I don't have to focus on the money aspect, and just doing it because I want to do it, not because, you know, you have to pay a mortgage, or because, you know, the nursery costs you a lakh for a child, etc. So I'm happy, you know, I'm happy to give, not that I'm not given at the moment, but to a bigger extent, more support to create something better for everyone and for the future generations. Has building your own business taught you about yourself that a traditional career never would?
Oh, so many things. Oh my God, I'm going to start up with the finances. It helped me to understand how my income is now uncapped. I think that when you work for a 9 to 5, you kind of calculate your value based on the hours that you're putting in. And in the UK, if you do extra time, you don't really necessarily get extra money.
Yeah.
But like, you kind of condition your brain to think like, oh, a year of your service equals this, or an hour of your service equals this. And I don't think that productivity is tied to time. I think that we shouldn't be charging people for our time. We should be charging people for the transformation that we're selling them, and that like how we are able to position themselves. There is a money coach that became a friend of mine. We met through Instagram, and we were talking a few months ago when I started to build my page, and we were like bouncing off each other, having ideas. And she was telling me like, you know, I worked with this brand consulting guy and he charges 1,200 an hour. And I went like, oh my God. And she was like, I had the same reaction, but stop to think about it. It's all made up. The value is yours to make. If you believe that you're going to add something to this person's life that is worth an hour of your time, that is worth £1,200, this person is going to pay for it. So it's all about positioning. It's all about how you sell yourself. It's all about the transformation that you can bring. And it is literally uncapped. I don't know if you saw Jessie Jing's challenge.
Yes.
She made $6 million from one product. Like, it's crazy. And it's a low ticket product as well. So like,
how many people have to buy it
exactly
to generate 6 million?
Exactly. And like, not even that. It's like, she's done that by posting on Instagram. And she's done that by posting on Instagram about how she was career confused. She was not even selling anything.
Yeah.
Literally, there is money to be made out there. It's all made up. Once your mind stops thinking about scarcity and starts looking for abundance, once you start living the life that you want to live, things change. Numbers follow. So like, you need to value yourself. You know how much you bring to the table. Stop thinking that a salary is gonna give you your value. It doesn't. You have so much value outside of your job, you know, and you can bring that to people. You can build a business around who you are. So like, I think that the first one is financial for sure. And I think that the second one would be I essentially started to work on my own business because I hated going to the office. I hated it so much. And I hated having people telling me what I had to do when I had to do. So I hated having to wake up at 5, to go to the gym at 6, to take a shower at the gym, and to be at the office at 7. You know, I hated doing this. And I'm a person that loves routine. I love routine.
Yeah.
But on my own terms.
Yeah.
I don't want another person to tell me that I need to do this by this. I could never understand why people do this. And that's why I wanted to run my own business.
Yeah.
And I found it so difficult because that plays with discipline and it plays also with routine. But like, you kind of need to get very intentional with your time, and you need to set time for yourself to cook, to relax, to take a shower. Because once you understand that you're not working for a corporate, you're not working for a company anymore, you're working for yourself. And every result that you get from this is a matter of your input. So the more input that you input, the more benefit that you get back. And everything depends on you. So it's very easy for your brain to just go, oh, I'm going to work 24/7 because I'm going to get all this money, you know, like, so your brain gets into, I don't know, like fight or flight mode, and you never stop. But I think that the pauses are just so important. So I actually time block my, you know, like I have a calendar with time blocks for 1.5 hour a day for cooking, an hour a day for a shower, like very slow. Obviously my shower is going to last 10 minutes, but I want to be able to chill down. I want to be able to sit down, specific time to read. So I think that like being able to take care of yourself running a business is so important. And I think that like that's the biggest one lately. Like
lately.
Lately.
One of them.
Yeah, one of them lately.
And I would just like to dive a little bit more about the money mindset, because obviously money is something that I hear from a lot of people saying that money don't exist. How would you understand that when someone says money don't exist and there is just enough money, enough abundance for everyone?
It's really difficult to talk about that, right? Because I think that there are two different aspects that we can go to. There are a lot of people in poverty.
Yeah.
And we can't say that, oh, money is no object, because it is. We live in a capitalist society. Most of the world is capitalist, and like money is what moves the universe. And we need foundation. We need money to be able to have our minimum needs meet.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we can't function.
Yeah.
So we need money. So it's really difficult to say like, oh, money doesn't exist. But at the same time, it doesn't. I think that like money exists up to a level. There is research that shows that happiness is only proportionate related to money up to 70K a year. More than that makes no difference whatsoever. And we're going to come back to the thing where I said that like if we have our minimum needs met, we wouldn't bring chaos to the world. We wouldn't have to work. We wouldn't have to think scarce. We would have everything that we need. So like if you have everything you need, would you really want more? You know, like, and I understand the greed nowadays. I understand how we have people in poverty and people who are millionaires, trillionaires now.
Yeah.
So I understand how this societal difference is so big for all of us. But I also understand that in an ideal world, if we had a world that could cater for every single person, like you wouldn't want more. You know, like if you've got everything you need, you don't need more. And that's not like me supporting, I don't know, communism. Like it's not what it is, because it's a different kind of thing. I just think that like once you reach the minimum threshold that you need, once you have everything you need, money stops becoming object, and you need to start thinking that like more is not going to equal more happiness. You know, and it's really difficult to understand that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could relate, because I think how much I'm earning now versus how much I've earned before, I was always like, I need to make more income, because not simply of how I would feel, but about the experiences that I will have, which will lead me to feel a certain way. So, for example, if before I was going on a holiday, I don't know, somewhere in Europe, now I'm able to go to different holidays around the world. And I was never really chasing the number itself, just because, you know, I need to earn, I don't know, whatever money, because, you know, for ego, you know, perspective. It was always about the experiences that I wanted to have.
Yeah.
So I wonder whether the challenge that you're having with your client, is there a challenge? Do you think that the people that you're coaching at the moment are focusing solely on making money as a profit, or are they focusing specific experiences and how they want to feel?
Yeah, I
Because
think
that's a big one, I feel like, for today's coaches.
yeah, it is huge. So basically, I think that there are things to say about that. Again, in my early 20s, I built a lot, and I was really focused towards the money. I wanted to reach the numbers. I wanted to like go to Prada and shop. Like, it was my dream. But I wanted that because I couldn't have it. I didn't have this growing up. So to me, being able to do these things and to like pay for a 5-star hotel, or like, oh my God, it was such a thrill. It was such a thing. And then once I achieved it, what I did was the opposite. I went into a monastery, lived with the monks without hot water, you know, like in a cold of
Extreme.
-2. So like, and like, I was actually talking to friends last week, and I was like, well, we need to stop thinking that more expensive is better. It's not because it's more expensive that it's better, you know, like, you need to know what you like, not because it's more expensive, but because this is what you like, you know. And I think that I am the one that, like, 5 years ago, I would be going to Michelin star restaurants and like spending money that I didn't have because I wanted to live the lifestyle.
Yeah.
Now I go to the corner shop because I really love the way that they make their food, and it's my favorite type of food. So, you know, like, it's just such a different perspective. And I think that, like, one of the things that I talk to my girls all the time is that they are building a business that is sustainable for them. That, like, they want to build financial freedom because that's important for them, but they're not killing themselves to do that. So, like, there is this specific girl that I'm working with now. She left her corporate job and she became a personal trainer. And her results are just so amazing. She is loving it. So she started posting on Instagram like 3 days ago, and she got 2 new clients already.
Wow.
And she's just doing that by going out there. And the first thing that I've done with her was a bit of like identity tied to money type of work. She wanted to, like, she couldn't understand how she could charge people. And she felt so awkward by charging people that she wanted to bring people on her coaching program for like 47 euros. And I was like, girl, you're bringing so much value to these people. 47 euros is nothing for them. You're bringing value to them. And then I did an exercise with her that we counted how many hours of her time, because the first thing that you do when you leave corporate, your brain is still conditioned to think about hours and associate your hours to your time, hours and time to your money, to how much you get. So we did an exercise, and I was like, okay, say that in your corporate job, you made X. So you made X per hour. Let's calculate in your corporate job how much you would be getting by putting the same amount of hours. And then she was like, oh yeah, I should be charging more. And I was like, yes. And also, look, so you are building this life because you wanted to leave your 9 to 5. You're not going to be 9 to 5 on a table. You bring more value than before. These people are willing to charge more. You know, so I think there's a lot of identity that needs to go into it. There's a lot of understanding that needs to go around how much you should charge, how much you can charge. And it's such a big thing. I think for us women, we don't really grow up being thought that like we should, I don't know, it's just like talking about money to us is a bit awkward, isn't it?
Is the
Like,
value as well of
Yeah.
knowing how to price yourself
yes,
correctly.
yeah,
That the value you're bringing
yes,
can, you don't have to go small, because
yes,
I guess how much someone is charging their clients also can represent of how much they value themselves and their time
Yeah.
equally, like you just said.
So we did a few exercises, right? So the first exercise was, okay, so if you were working in your corporate job, you did this amount per hour, and now you're going to put 40 hours into this, and you're only trying to charge this. This is wrong. This is not the life that you want to live. This is not aligned with you. Second, you are working with this person in Spain. An hour with a personal trainer in Spain is 50 euros. You want to spend a month with this person for 47. Girl,
Yeah.
like, no, like, obviously you're not doing a face-to-face. You're not going to spend 40 hours with this person face-to-face. But the transformation you're going to bring is even more. You're going to talk to this person on a daily basis. Like, the kind of value that you bring is so much higher. So do that. And then we did the third exercise. I was like,
Yeah.
okay, so first of all, you understood how much your previous job would charge for that, and you'd have a baseline for that. Second, you stoop up, like you're just stepping up, because you know that now a personal trainer charges more than what you used to charge. So now you have this. Now third, think about your value. Think about the transformation that you're going to bring. Think about the knowledge that you have, where this person is right now, and where this person is going to be in a month period working with you. Are they going to achieve the goals that they wanted to achieve? Are they going to be healthy, happy? How are they going to feel after that? Would they pay more for this? Yes. So charge that. All
Amazing.
you don't need 5 million people to buy your YAP challenge.
Yeah.
You need one person to say yes and to believe in you. Because if one person believes in you, you believe in yourself, and you can bring that forward. So like, you just need to condition yourself to understand that you have value, you have knowledge that for you is obvious, but for other people are definitely not.
Yeah.
So price that, like, own this, like, it's so important. Knowledge is power. It's so important. Is the one thing that is never going to get taken away from you.
Yeah. And it's amazing that you've been lucky enough, like you said, to being brought up in a household with your grandma who told you how to be independent, and now you continue to support women to create the life that they deserved, essentially.
Yeah.
So that brings me to my next question. What's one question everyone should ask themselves before making their next career or life decision?
I made a post about that, and I think I'm going to talk about that too. I think that the biggest mistake that people think, or that people come to me with, is that they think that they need a big idea to take a leap. They need the big idea, the perfect timing, the perfect scenario. They are waiting for the perfect opportunity.
Yeah.
I'm not ready yet. Like, I am not ready to open my business because I'm still doing this. I'm not ready to post on social media because I'm still working on X, Y, and Z. You don't need to be ready. You need to start. Like, 42% of the startups fail because there is no market need for the products that they're putting out. So essentially, people are not even buying what they're putting out. And these startups often spend at least 6 months to a year perfecting their product, because one person thinks that they had this big idea and this breakthrough, and then they want to be polished, they want to be perfect and show up in front of people in a perfect way. But when they launch, people don't identify with that. So the one thing that I always tell to people is, you don't have to have a big idea. If you keep telling yourself that you're not ready, you're never going to be ready. You need to stop thinking that the perfect moment is going to come through, that the perfect idea is going to come through. You are a human being with so much knowledge and so much value that only you have. You've had experiences that only you have. Daniel Priestley talks about this. You are sitting on a mountain of value your story is the most powerful thing that you have. Combine the knowledge that you already have nowadays and start making an impact in people's lives. Now, you don't need anything else. You've got everything you need, literally. Like, if you feel there's something that is not aligned with you right now, you've got everything that you need to start. Literally, just start.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
And before we finish for today, maybe you can help our audience and everyone watching by answering the question or finishing the sentence, living a aligned life means?
Oh my God, I think that living an aligned life means being very truthful to yourself and not thinking about what success means to other people, but thinking about yourself and getting really clear about the things that matter to you. I think that like we are products of our society. So we live in an environment that conditions how we think. Think outside the box, like allow yourself to have experiences outside of your comfort zone. Allow yourself to know parts of yourself that you have potentially never met.
Yeah.
And then you're going to start to experiment. Then you're going to start to feel the things that feel like you. And that's how you're going to find your purpose. That's how it's going to find aligned. So yeah, just
follow what makes you excited.
Yeah, for you. Like, not because your mom said so, not because your employer said so, not because society or a movie or an artist, or like, think about what matters to you. And if you need to take a full break to do that, build your financial foundation and do it, because it's so powerful. Like, things change once you start thinking about yourself and for yourself. I don't know, life just changes.
Life changes in the best possible way.
Yes.
Well, thank you very much for your wisdom today and for your presence, of course.
Thank you for having me.